Howdy everyone, and welcome back again to my channel. I'm actually recording 2 videos in one night, which I think is a first for me. The backstory for this video, I went with my family up to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for spring break. We had a great time, did a lot of very cool things, and long story short, my wife gets a little bit nauseous and has like the issues with, drawing a blank, like motion sickness, etc. I can't think of the word for it, or the other word for it, but she has issues with that. So she had a little bit of an issue when we went from Georgia up over the Smoky Mountains and around the Smoky Mountains to get into Pigeon Forge. So when we came back, two things. Wanted to kind of avoid that if we could, but we also wanted to go to Buc-ee's for the first time in Tennessee. And in doing so, we came back from Tennessee to Georgia a different route, which brought us along I-40. And so I was thinking while I was driving, obviously focusing on the road, but still thinking about the fact that I-40 might be relevant to John Collins Black and might be relevant to There's Treasure Inside. So that's what we're going to talk about, whether or not Interstate 40 is the road JCB knows and cruises along, and is it relevant to other boxes? And this is a bit of a unique video. It's a bit of a stretch, in my opinion. I first thought about perhaps it is a way that JCB is pointing us to New Mexico for Force Fin Box, but we will get into that and discuss that in a bit. So again, Interstate 40, is it the road JCB knows and the road JCB cruises along? Again, from the Force Fin poem, it starts out with, I cruise along a road I know. And that's what kind of made me think about I-40. It does start in Southern California and goes all the way over to the eastern side of North Carolina. And it does cross through New Mexico, which of course is one of the Fin states. And obviously, as I've now stated several times, I cruise along a road I know is something that JCB says in the Fin poem. So let's get into that and see whether or not it's relevant. It does, as I stated, and just wanted to kind of show it. Goes from California all the way out to North Carolina, so in theory it could potentially be the road that JCB cruises along and thus knows. That's more or less a visual of what I just said in the previous slide. So now we get into the aspect of whether or not it could be relevant for the Force Fin poem and for JCB's hunts for the thrill of the chase. Now, as we see here, although I-40 does go through New Mexico, it passes below Santa Fe, which rules it out for a place JCB would have logically not searched for the thrill of the chase. It is also greatly and substantially illegal to park alongside of an interstate. So, unfortunately, that does rule out this being relevant in any way whatsoever to either the thrill of the chase or JCB's Force Fin box. But I'm curious, being a little bit newer to There's Treasure Inside, about whether or not this could be useful for other aspects of JCB's hunts and other boxes. So that's kind of where we're gonna go next, and that's what we're gonna look into. So the video does not stop here. It was initially, like I said, what I thought was potentially interesting for the Fin box, but obviously here we see it literally can't be. So let's move along. Let's cruise along, if you will, to whether or not it can be relevant to other boxes. The first thing that stood out to me was that I think it can be, because we see Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina state abbreviations in the past and future word search, as well as the word state divider. I-40, if we kind of go back up, sorry for the scrolling, I-40 does literally and quite figuratively divide a lot of states horizontally. Obviously not so much California, but Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. It legitimately flows through the middle of those states. So you could, in theory, say that it divides the states, but we'll kind of get into a little bit more specifics of that in a moment, why that might be relevant for other boxes. So again, apologize for the scrolling. But it also cuts through specifically the Tennessee and North Carolina border. I understand that kind of throws out or discredits the South Carolina state abbreviation. The word search, I really don't know if I have much thoughts on that, other than is JCB trying to tell us that either the past and future box or potentially the lion's share box is one of those 3 states? I don't know. But in regards to this particular video, we're going to focus on Tennessee and North Carolina. Oh yeah, so sorry, lost the train of thought. So it does indeed go through the Tennessee North Carolina border, and I'll show that in the next slide as a visual again. But what is interesting about where it crosses over the Tennessee North Carolina state borders is that the Appalachian Trail happens to be right there. So let's take a look at that. Here we have the Appalachian Trail up in the top left. We have the Smoky Mountain area. Then we have I-40 cutting through here along the Pigeon River. And as you can see, there's Appalachian Trail. Here is the Tennessee North Carolina border. The Appalachian Trail kind of cuts through the general area. And I don't think this is Appalachian. Oh yeah, obviously this is state divider, state borders. Sorry. Massive brain fart there. And then the state divider continues to go through Tennessee, North Carolina. I was thinking to myself, is that another trail? No, it's not. It's a state divider. Come on. Be better in your videos. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what that is. It kind of goes right through that general area is where I-40 goes along the Tennessee, North Carolina border. And again, the Appalachian Trail happens to be there. We will get into this slide, and we'll come back to this slide in a moment just to kind of showcase something else that may or may not be relevant. But the interesting thing, as I was traveling myself down I-40, I didn't obviously go through Statesville, but I went through kind of like the Asheville side of I-40. But it does specifically travel through and go through Statesville and Asheville, which of course are two relevant cities for JCB in North Carolina, where he's from. He does, in one of his early interviews, say, paraphrasing, if you will, he doesn't rule out the fact that he could have hidden a box in North Carolina, seeing how he's from there, or like near or around in the general area of North Carolina. So it is possible that one or potentially two boxes are in the Southeast, which is amazing to me. So I need to jump on those and try to figure out if Lion Share and or Past and Future box is in the Southeast. So the other thing to call out, as I did mention in the previous slide, we'll come back to that. The Hurricane Helene natural disaster went through this area rather significantly. Of course, it devastated a large part of the Southeast, specifically North Carolina. But that slide that I showed before is kind of what I'll go back to and show in another minute of how devastating it was to that area. And of course, JCB says that he had to go check on a box to see if nature destroyed it or not. What I saw traveling through that and the multi-year project that's going on to restore that general area is significant. So they're doing a multi-year project to restore the valley, the Pigeon River, and strengthen I-40, the area shown on the previous slide. And you can literally see them putting these massive, strengthening areas to the valley and to the interstate to kind of rebuild it and restore it. And again, that is right here where I didn't see that push drill, but I know that it's part of this area along the Pigeon River, close to the Tennessee North Carolina line, where there's just massive devastation and destruction from Hurricane Helene. Flooding, just completely wiping out and taking away the banks and the infrastructure and the support of the valley and the interstate. So the scale of the project that they're doing is extensive. I want to say it goes until, at least planned until 2028. And it started a few months ago. So I don't know. I just think that it could be possible, at least in my opinion, that JCB, almost suggesting, JCB could have sprinkled in some clues in some of the smaller boxes to suggest that I-40 could be relevant for the Lion Share box, or as I stated, possibly the Past and Future box. You could in theory say Appalachian Trail. I don't know that it's necessarily down in North Carolina. I think it's more in the Northeast, but we have Appalachian Trail right there, the Tennessee North Carolina border. So it is theoretically possible that it could also be relevant to that box as well. But for me, I'm focusing more so on the Past and Future, as well as potentially the Lion Share box. Is it possible that JCB could have said, I cruise along a road I know that might be I-40. In the Past and Future box, he does include Tennessee and North Carolina border, which I-40 travels along. but also then it goes right close to or right by the Appalachian Trail. Like, is I-40 the road that JCB cruises along and knows and wants to call out and wants to make relevant for his hunt in regards to some possible boxes? I don't really know, but I did think it's interesting enough to make a video. So that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to share. Again, I just think there's a lot that kind of points to certain areas of I-40 and how important it is to North Carolina and some of the states in the South that it travels through. Again, it ruled out for New Mexico and for the forest fin box, but is it potentially relevant for other boxes? So that's what I wanted to discuss. Thank you all. As always, I greatly appreciate, as you can see, the support to not only myself, but the channel. It was really cool to meet several of y'all at the Seeker Summit in Tucson and continue to interact and include y'all in conversations going forward in various Discords. So I appreciate it. I hope that you guys have all liked the video. As I stated in another video, I think generally speaking, I'll do like a 3-to-1 ratio favoring Beyond the Map Edge videos and then sprinkling in some TTI videos here and there. So this is another one, and I think I'll continue to do that. One of the unique things about working with One Cliff Short and Eric is he views me, and rightfully so, as more of a knowledgeable, is what I would say, in the Beyond the Map Edge treasure hunt. But he and his wife are more knowledgeable in TTI. Of course, they're obviously getting into Beyond the Map's Edge now, and I'm in reverse getting into some TTI videos. So I think it's unique. Also think going forward, it's highly likely that I'll include Eric and or his wife in some of my videos about TTI going forward. So potentially look out for those. But I'm just kind of bouncing off ideas about TTI in the same manner that he's bouncing off ideas for me for Beyond the Map's Edge. So we kind of have that working relationship, if you will, and friendship in that regard. So I think that's kind of cool, and I enjoy kind of bouncing off ideas and being the flip side of TTI for you all. So again, thank you. You'll have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. I look forward to more videos going forward. See ya.